Welcome in, NeSmith fans, to another NeSmith Race Report. Also like to welcome in all the people listening in the Rush Racing Series neck of the woods. It's April 2nd, 2013, the day after Prank Day. Let me just tell you about Prank Day real quick. I know this is a racing show, but so yes, I'm Mr. Mom in the mornings between races during the week. I'm Mr. Mom. Get the little girl up and go to school. So it's about 6:30 in the morning yesterday, and I hear my little girl crying and moaning for Daddy because her arm hurts. She's 6 now. So, of course, I'm half asleep, so I jump up, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, she's falling for bed. She's broke her arm. And I get in there, and she's like, oh, my arm, I think I broke it. And I touch her arm and look at it, and she just yells out, April Fools. So, no DNA test needed. That is my daughter. So, anyway, I'm glad Prank Day is behind us. We had our first week of the Old Man's Garage weekly series. Mother Nature, I think, took some of our events out, but we'll get to all that in Roby's news and notes here coming up. But it is upon us. We are here. We're in it. We're looking at week 2. Lots of racing coming up this week. I'm sure Roby will tell us all about it. So without further ado, let's bring him on.
And a good Tuesday evening to everybody. Roby Helm here with the NeSmith Race Report wrap-up for Week 1 in the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series action. As Webb said, Mother Nature caught us on Week 1, but we did get a couple of shows in. Got 2 races in with the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series Late Model Division, and got 1 race in the brand-new NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division. Everything opened up on Friday night at Hattiesburg Motorsports Park in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and Michael Arnold out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, the Hattiesburg Hustler, took the win and finishing in second. Last year's national championship runner-up in the Weekly Racing Series points, Mickey Trosclair out of Lawling, Louisiana. The General, Shannon Lee from Lumberton, Mississippi, finished in the 3rd spot. Robert Cassida, who switched from being the general manager at Hattiesburg Motorsports Park to a weekly competitor. I guess he thought the racers were having more fun than he was on Friday night. He debuted his K9 late model machine, came home in the 4th spot, and returning to action in the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series battles, 3-time series champion Lucky Keaton out of Tomb Suba, Mississippi, rounded out the top 5 on Friday night at Hattiesburg Motorsports Park in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Action moved a little bit further south down to Lacombe, Louisiana on Saturday night as St. Tammany Raceway held their first race after being out of action under a different name for about 2 years. They came back to action on Saturday night. Reports are they had a great crowd there, some great racing action. And Louisiana Fast, Mickey Trosclair took the win in the 521 car, the Sparks Motorsports entry. 3-time series champion Lucky Keaton came home in 2nd spot. Got a new number on the side of his car, a 221 this year. The General, Shannon Lee, with his 2nd straight 3rd-place finish. 4th went to Noah Daspit in the 22 car out of Purvis, Mississippi. And rounding out the top 5 in the 115 car, Derek Mackmer. So those were your top 5 in the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series Late Model Division Saturday night at St. Tammany Raceway. They also held the first ever NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division event on Saturday night, and Roger Flynn took the win. He was followed by Jared Freeman in the 99 car. Chad Hires finished 3rd in the F-15, the 51. Eddie Willis finished 4th, and 5th was car number 1 for Donnie Ellis. Looking at the point standings after week 1 in both divisions, with both Michael Arnold and Mickey Trosclair picking up 50-point wins, they're tied for the lead as we take the best finish out of the week for each driver. That's their point total for that week, so both of them with 50 points on top of the list. So right in there in the 3rd spot, Lucky Keaton in that 221 car, so look for Lucky Keaton to battle for his 4th NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series title. Shannon Lee in the 4th spot in the 47 car. So some good action in week number 1. Unfortunately, Mother Nature rained down action at Clay Hill Motorsports in Atwood, Tennessee on Saturday night, and also Talladega Short Track at East Teboga, Alabama, rained out on Saturday night. Looking at the week 2 slate action, it's going to be a busy week as we have got about 12 to 14 races scheduled among the 2 divisions. On Friday night, the action will get underway with the season opener for the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series late models at Batesville Motor Speedway in Batesville, Arkansas. Hattiesburg Motorsports Park returns to action on Friday night. And Jackson Motor Speedway in Jackson, Mississippi, they'll have a special Friday night show as both the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series late models will be in action, along with the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division. They're going to have a special 2-race event, and we'll be telling you about that here in just a couple of minutes. On Saturday night, for the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series, Bubba Raceway Park at Ocala, Florida will have their season opener for the division. Clay Hill Motorsports Park will try again on Saturday night. Alabama Motor Speedway in Phoenix City, Alabama will be in action with their first race of the season. Magnolia Motor Speedway in Columbus, Mississippi, they'll be in action with both the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series late models and the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division. Moulton Speedway in Moulton, Alabama will host the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division on Saturday night. Also in action, St. Tammany Raceway with both divisions, the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series late models and the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division. Southern Raceway in Milton, Florida will be in action on Saturday night with NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series late models. Talladega Short Track also going to try again on Saturday night. And Why Not Motorsports Park in Meridian, Mississippi, they'll be in action on Saturday night with the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series late models and the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division. That'll be the second part of that 2-race series we were telling you about. Jackson Motor Speedway is going to open up the Sauls Farms I-20 Challenge for the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division. They're going to have a $500 to win race. Then on Saturday night, the Sauls Farms I-20 Challenge for the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division moves to Why Not Motorsports Park, and they will have an $800 to win race on Saturday night. Now, the driver with the best point average over the 2 races will pick up a $300 bonus from Sauls Farms. So if you can win both of those races and end up the high point man, that's a possible 2-day payday of $1,700 for the NeSmith Chevrolet Performance Parts Street Stock Division this weekend. Friday night at Jackson Motor Speedway and Saturday night at Why Not Motorsports Park with the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division in the Sauls Farms I-20 Challenge. So we have a busy week coming up for both the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series late models and the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division.
But and the only thing that frightens me about this weekend coming up, I mean, I'm excited to have that much. The only thing that frightens me is that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday forecast over there that's coming this way. I hate that spring is like this, but hopefully we can get them in. I wanted to mention before we get into the too far into the program. Of course, we're going to have the winners on from this week. We're going to Michael Arnold on here in just a minute, 2 weeks in a row. I mean, and then following him will be Mickey Trosclair. So we end the season with Mickey Trosclair tied for the lead, and we start the season with Mickey Trosclair tied for the lead. Mickey's got to be pulling his hair out. He's got to be pulling his hair out.
I mean, what are the chances? You know?
What? Well, I mean, and Jeff Andalonis, we talked to him last week. He's the
you know who really is leading the points all alone up there now, don't you?
Mother Nature.
No, Tabitha Trosclair.
Oh yeah, because she's the boss of Michael Arnold.
and Mickey Trosclair's sister.
Yeah, that's right.
She got the best of both worlds.
Now, also, too, I wanted to mention, I got my April edition of Late Model Illustrated. Our friend Brian McLeod puts a great magazine out. I get it home, read through it, and great article on page 58 about the CT525. It's by a gentleman named Brad Hall. He's their tech writer. And it goes as far as to tell you basically how to put the thing in and how to make the changeover, swap over. And it tells you certain things that Ronnie Johnson is actually running with his 525. So when you get this in the mail, make sure you guys turn to that, read page 58, and read up on and they're called the Mystery Engine. Comparing it to when Chevy tried to come out with, I guess, a 427 back in the day to combat the Hemi and the 429 by Ford. But they say it's kind of that kind of feel that it's the motor everybody's got questions about. Of course, we don't. We know that it works. You'll like that. I think you'll like that article when you see it, Roby.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a good article. Brad Hall, very knowledgeable in the technical areas. Good racer out of Knoxville, Tennessee. His dad, Gary Hall, owns Tazewell Speedway, the Big Bad Taz up in Tazewell, Tennessee. And the Chevrolet Performance Super Late Model Series with those CT525 engines going to be making 2 appearances this year at Tazewell Speedway. So you know Brad Hall's getting ready for that.
I actually got to meet Brad at the promoter's workshop. So he's an awful nice guy, besides being just a race car driver and a tech rider.
He's a very unique story. He came to the Ice Bowl one year with a 602 running in the crate division and smoked them and hauled it with a pickup truck and an open trailer. So that was quite a story. That was a few years ago at the Ice Bowl there at Talladega Short Track.
I like open trailers, especially when I'm traveling and I see an open trailer on a race car. It just takes me back to when I was about like 7 or 8 years old. I just love open trailers.
Yeah, when you had your local racetrack back in the day when the hot dogs would come to town with those open trailers, it was like the circus coming to town.
That's right. Well, let's we're going to move on into the program here. We're going to bring Michael Arnold on. We got Mr. Mickey Trosclair waiting in the wings. We're going to have Butch Lambert on. He's the Rush guy from Pennsylvania. Roger Flynn, victor over the weekend in the NeSmith Street Stock, NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stocks. And at the very end of the program, in the Crate Racing USA Sponsor Spotlight, we started last week with Modern Images. This week we're going to move on to Chris Vandergrift with Hedman Headers. So it'd be nice to talk to Chris. Chris has been real good to us. So let's go ahead and bring on.
Let's do it.
Let's get this thing rolling. Welcome to the program for the second week in a row, Michael Arnold.
Hey, how y'all doing?
So you guys go out and you repeat what you did last weekend. This time it's for real. It counts. You're sitting at the top of the points. Talk to us about the event.
Well, we unloaded off the trailer Friday night with pretty much the same deal we had last Friday, and hot laps went good, and we qualified on the pole, and we locked in and went out for locked-in hot laps. Got into a little trouble there, but Herman got me all fixed up, and car was on the rail for the feature.
Well, looking at the finishing order, Mickey Trosclair, Shannon Lee. Now I'm dumb to who Lucky Keaton is, but he's there. I'm sure I'll know who he is by the end of the year from all accounts. But in the event, what was Mickey giving you any fits?
No, I mean there wasn't nobody close. We had a couple of restarts and this and that. And he pulled up the top and on one of them restarts. He got a pretty good little start. But, after we went through that first corner, it was game over. And I hope it stays that way. Like I said, we were pretty hooked up. We just got to stay on top of it and keep it that way.
Pretty good field of cars there, Michael. 14 cars, some good competition there. Looking back through the pack, we mentioned the top 5, but, you had guys like Sid Scarborough, Derek Mackmer. Mark Tice was there. He's got a couple wins in weekly racing series action through the years. So pretty good field of cars down there. They had to be pleased with that for the first night.
Yeah, I'm pleased with it, but, like I said, we just got to stay on top of it and keep doing it. Anytime we go to a racetrack, I expect to win. That's what I want, and that's what I expect out of myself, and I know I've got the people behind me to do it, and that's just what we shoot for, what I shoot for every week.
Well, it's good.
So
Well, as good as you guys were at Hattiesburg, I'm looking at the finishing order at the at St. Tammany Raceway the next night.
Outhouse, or from the penthouse to the outhouse.
What happened there?
Oh, it just wasn't our night. I'll just put it that way. We just, I like the track. It's a fun little track, but it's small and it's tight, and it's extremely hard to pass on. And, we had to draw down there for position, and I drew somewhere close to last because I was they had 2 heats. They had 8 cars, and they had 4 cars in each heat. It wasn't really that big of a deal. I started third, and I was passing the 115 going down the back straightaway on the first lap, and we got together and made some contact, and I had a flat tire, and they don't allow you to change the tire in the heat race to go back out. So I was done for the heat race, and then in the feature, by the second or third lap, I was back up to fourth, and the caution come out, and I was just sitting there thinking I may still have a shot at it. And as soon as the caution come out, me and somebody got together, and they got the electric tire, and when that happened, I just hung it up for the night.
Well, you had your 50 points already in your pocket for the week, so, it couldn't have made you feel too bad. You probably just out there
I had the 50 points in my pocket, but I gave away 50 points. If I could have won that heat race and started on the outside pole, there's a good chance there would have been a different outcome to that race, and, y'all know how tight these points get at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah.
I can't afford to be giving away points like that. But it's a racing thing. It happens. So we'll just have to keep digging.
Well, are you going back this Saturday night for a little redemption down there, or you got something else in mind? I know you'll probably be at Hattiesburg Friday night. If they
start timing us in, we plan on going. If they got to buy a stopwatch and start timing us in, I called them and they said they were going to time us all in, but they didn't have the scoring system set up or something. It'll be a good little track, and, we plan to go down there. I just hope they start timing us in. If they have, I think, and, hear from a few people going and think they're going to have 8 cars or so, then I'm going to go down there and see what I could do. And if not, I want to chase that win at Wyandotte extremely bad, but, I need to do what's smart.
Well, one thing you got going for you down where you're at there in Hattiesburg, you're pretty much centrally located. Got a lot of choices on Saturday nights.
Yeah, we got a few choices. Like I said, Jackson's racing on Friday, but I think it'd be smarter for us to go to Hattiesburg, and then Saturday we just have to wait and see.
It's definitely springtime, and there's a lot of precipitation forecasted for Mississippi. What are you guys hearing over there? You guys going to get waterlogged this week?
I don't know. I hadn't even looked at the weather or anything. I couldn't tell you. Usually the way I see if a racetrack's rained out or something that somebody posted on Facebook, I really don't. I have no idea.
Well, I got one quick question for you, Michael. I know you'd mentioned Herman Reynolds earlier that works on your car. It was Easter weekend last weekend, and they put all those old movies on from the biblical times. And I was watching a movie called Ben-Hur about chariot racing. And they lined up these chariots out there, and they were kind of given the starting lineup like we do at the races on who was in what chariot. I could have sworn I heard him mention Herman Reynolds. Do you think there's any truth to that?
I don't know about all that. There could be, but I don't know. You never can tell about him.
All right. Well, Michael, we certainly appreciate you coming on for the second week in a row. Hopefully this is some kind of a habit you're forming. Last year we must have had Mickey. We must have had Trosclair on about 20 times last year on the Weekly Series hotline. So wish you continued luck. So before you get out here, thank the sponsors and also the crew members that turned the wrenches on the car for you.
I'd like to thank Billy Rouse with Billy Rouse Racing and Herman Reynolds for helping me with that car. Like I said, we come to the racetrack Friday with the same thing we left with and went out for locked-in hot laps, and I was extremely unsatisfied with the car, but he got to work on it, got it right, got it where it needed to be. And I'd like to thank Danny Mitchell with Mitchell Racing Engines. And Shannon Lee, my teammate, he helped us out, gives us a little feedback, so that helps too.
Well, we certainly appreciate it, and we'll talk to you hopefully we'll talk to you again in the coming weeks, brother.
I hope so. Thank you.
Michael Arnold, he sits on top of the points. He's tied with another guy. We're fixing to bring him on. But, I mean, this guy, like I said, Mickey Trosclair has stayed with us on the – and what did you call him, my co-host last year?
Yeah, he was your co-host last year.
The Webb and Mickey Show. So we're sticking to it. So welcome back to his program, the Webb and Mickey Show, Mickey Trosclair.
How's it going, man?
Mick, you got to be pulling your hair out to end the season tied and now start a season tied.
It's just still early in the season. Anything can happen. I ain't worried about it. I ain't too much on the points racing this year. I'm just gonna race to win races. That's it.
I mean, but at least you're up in the top where you left off. What did you guys do in the off season to maybe get the championship this year?
We worked on a car, changed a lot of stuff up, and went and ran it 2 Fridays ago, and it was junk, and ran it last Friday and run second. It was junk, and went back home, went over everything for Saturday, changed some stuff up, and it was right Saturday, so I'm ready for this weekend.
Well, we had Michael Arnold's account of what happened at Hattiesburg. What was your side of the story at Hattiesburg?
He qualified fast time. He had fast time, and I think the 115 was outside pole. We qualified third. We won our heat, started third in the feature, got in the second on the start, and kept having a bunch of cautions as the race would go on. When we finally got to run a good amount of laps, 5-6 laps without a caution, I was able to gain on them, but there was one groove right around the bottom. But I'll take a second place and have my car in one piece, compared to what they had the week before. They destroyed 3 or 4 cars.
And then you pick up your win, of course, at St. Tammany. Have you raced there before? I mean, I know it was closed, or are you familiar with that place?
Yeah, I raced there for a little while when I was probably 14, 15 years old, and then I raced there a little bit whenever I was probably about 19 or 20, and then the last year I raced there a handful of races, so we got a few laps around that place.
Well, Mickey, it looked like you really had it dialed in. I saw a little film clip of the start of the race and a few laps going in, and looked like you were in a different zip code there by the end of the race.
Yeah, we like I said, we changed a lot of stuff up on it Saturday and put it back on the scales and talked to Scott, and he told me a few things to try. And when we got there, we unloaded, we hot lapped. It was good, and I knew right then and there we was gonna have a good night as long as we stayed out of trouble. And like I said, from that point forward, it was just rolling with it, and everything fell together pretty good. And a little guy, Andre, that helps me out, he was showing me how far of a lead I had, and then towards the end, he just quit showing me, so I kept running it as hard as I could. The race was over. He's like, man, he said, you had over a straightaway. I said, well, I didn't know.
A little bit of a new look on the 521 this year. That thing really stands out on the racetrack. Tell us how you came up with black, green, and pink on the car.
I talked to Crystal at Modern Images at the awards banquet. We talked about it, and a little while later, whenever I got ready to get a wrap, I give him a call, and I told him some colors that I wanted, and he come up with a little design, and it looked real good, and went ahead and got it and put it in the World of Wheels. A lot of people like this. It's very eye-catching,
Yeah, the pink wheel covers really make that thing stand out. I'll tell you, that's really a sharp-looking race car.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And the World of Wheels thing, and I've always thought to myself, why don't late model guys, whether it's Scott Bloomquist himself or a street stocker, but having a late model of the World of Wheels is a pretty neat deal. Was there anybody that came by that just said, "What the heck is this thing"?
Yeah, they have a lot of people. They look at it and they ask what it is, and you tell them it's a dirt track car, and they're like, "Oh, demolition derby." You're like, "Well, it gets like that sometimes, but you don't want it to be."
Now, did some guys walk by and know exactly what it was?
Yeah, because there was a racetrack over here, probably about 15 miles from where they do the World of Wheels, West Bank Speedway, and a lot of guys that raced there was at the World of Wheels looking at all the old cars and all, so they knew what it was.
Okay, I just think it's a good idea. And I applaud you for being sort of an ambassador of late model racing at all levels. To take your car and do such a thing. I mean, when did you know that you were going to do something like that?
I got a buddy of mine that come on board this year sponsoring me, Airboats Incorporated, and he had asked me to put it in there, and I told him I didn't have a problem with it, so he went ahead and registered us, and we brought it there on Thursday, and we had to keep it in there all weekend. It was fun. Look forward to it for next year.
I understand that you got an award there, but we're not quite sure who got the award. Was the award for your car, or was the award for Dylan's little wagon that looks just like your race car?
Well, it's for his wagon.
What was the award actually? What was the name or the title on the award?
They had 2 late models there. It was me and another guy. I think it was a number 1 late model, Patrick Michelle. It just said 2013 World of Wheels Outstanding in Class.
And his son Dylan got the award because he had a wagon that looked just like Mickey's late model. And it must have looked a little better because he got the award.
Yep, you're right.
Mickey, a lot of races to choose from this week on week 2. What are your plans for this weekend?
We're going to go and run Hattiesburg on Friday night. And depending on how that goes, see about where we're going to go on Saturday. Got another guy come on board this year, Sparks Motorsports, and he got a track up north, Alabama. Thinking about going up there, support him a little bit. I appreciate everything he's doing for me, so try to go support him, see if we can go up there and get a win up there for him.
I heard from Jeff, the promoter at Battleground Speedway in Highlands, Texas, and he said that you two have talked that you had some plans on maybe trying that track out sometime this season. Yeah,
they on a 55 tire rule, hard tire rule, and we really don't have no 55s. We're going to eventually get some, and we are going to go run over there. We're going to try to go make a few races. I actually talked to Mr. Jeff yesterday. He's trying to get us to come up on the 20th. They have a late model show up there. I want to say a super race. So we're going to see how these next few weeks play out, and we might be able to make that trip.
It's on the road again.
Now,
I love it. I wouldn't change it for nothing in the world.
Are you gonna? I mean, if the points stay like they are, and it's June 1st, are we still gonna see Mickey chasing these points in the championship?
I'm just, like I said, I'm racing to win, and I'm going out there to get 14 wins, and whatever happens.
There you go. Well, all right. Well, Mick, we certainly appreciate having you back on here again. I'm sure this won't be the last time we talk to you this year. So before we let you get out of here, I know who you're going to thank, but thank them sponsors and also some of the crew members.
All right. I'd like to thank my sponsors, J. Dunn and Sandblasting and Painting, Sparks Motorsports, Airboats Incorporated, Saul's Farm, Griffin Fence Company, Team Zero by Bloomquist, and Race One, Mr. Brad Hybrid, who does my motors, my crew people, my mom, my dad, my son Dylan, my girlfriend Erica, my crew chief Andre, Dustin, Amanda, Jeff, and Lil Mike.
No hamburgers this year?
Yeah, I was going to say no hamburgers.
Well, actually, he had talked to me after I had already got the wrapping all on, but as soon as I get another wrap, which I hope is not no time soon, I am going to put it back on there, though.
I was going to say, I'm still waiting on getting one of them and need to smoking steak burgers.
Hey, you need to come down here.
If I get down there, it's probably this will be the first place I stop.
All right, let me know.
All right, Mickey Trosclair, the pilot of the 521, he finds himself atop the points once again, tied with Michael Arnold, but I'm sure it'll be a fun, exciting season. So you guys take care and be safe in your travels, Mick.
Who's Michael Arnold?
Huh?
Who's Michael Arnold?
Ask your sister.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to have to do.
Jeez. Oh, goodness. See, we're going to have fireworks already this year, it sounds like. All right,
it's all
Mick.
good. Thank you very much.
It's going to be crazy. Well, all right, let's see here. Looks like we've got our next caller on. This gentleman comes to us out of Pennsylvania. He's a late model guy with the Rush Racing Series. Butch Lambert, is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Butch, welcome to the NeSmith Race Report, also the Rush Series Race Report. You guys thawed out up there yet?
No, not yet. It's looking a little better towards the end of the week, though.
Well, for all the
snow, we had a little bit of snow this morning, but not much.
That's nuts. All right, well, for everybody down here in NeSmith country, give us a little background information on who you are and how your racing has progressed.
My name's Butch Lambert, as you know. First started out racing at Lernerville in Enduro cars. It's been quite a few years ago. Raced a few of those, and then a buddy of mine and a couple other guys, we got together and built a street stock and progressed with that a little bit for a few years, and started building some other cars that were a little bit better, and after a few years, we were one of the top guys at Lernerville, I would say. Won 3 track championships. Between there and a few other places, we won a lot of races, and we'd go to the big money shows and run up front with those, and had a lot of fun doing that. And just 4 years ago, when the crates started getting bigger around the Northeast, I got rid of the street stock and bought a used car off of somebody, and was just going to go out here and there with it and try to get used to things, but kind of jumped in with both feet and been racing all over the place ever since that.
Now, you mentioned you'd won 3 track championships there at Lernerville, and I'm looking at the schedule here. It looks like there's 2 or 3 races at Lernerville. Is that, you got those circled on your calendar?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, most definitely. It's right in our backyard. It's only about 20, 25 minutes from our house, so anytime there's a show there, we're going to be there. Love that place. You know, pretty much grew up racing there, and you know, anytime that I can now with the crates, because they don't run them on a weekly basis, we're going there.
Are you going to run
we'll be there in 2 weeks?
You going to run the Touring Series, or are you going to run the weekly deal, or both this year with the Rush Series?
Probably run as many tour races as we can. With the job and everything, kind of the midweek races, it's going to be pretty tough for us to get to. But just like years past, we'll be the ones that we can make and hit any weekly show that we can on the off weekends.
Well, when's your first race going to be this year? I know that you guys are probably just chomping at the bit hearing about all the racing that's going on in the South, waiting for the weather to break and get to that first race. So where's that going to be at?
We're probably going to head to Sharon Speedway this Saturday. They were supposed to have a practice, I believe, like the last 2 weeks, but the weather hasn't been very good. But which kind of played in my favor because I wasn't ready. We're buttoning everything up here, and we should be ready to roll this Saturday.
What kind of equipment are you running, Butch?
I got an 07 Rocket.
But now I'm going to ask you, like, when you move up through the ranks like you have, and then you go back to a place like Lernerville, how much of what you knew in the other types of vehicles do you get to use with the crate car and with the bird cages and all that? I mean, is there information you remember, or I mean, are your points the same on the Speedway?
Yeah, somewhat. Everybody jokes with me that I got quite a few laps around there. It should be easy, but it's a tough track to get around if you haven't raced there. I wouldn't say that anything's easy, especially with these cars. There's so many adjustments and everything. with a street stock, you pretty much do your homework at the garage and go and race, and you can change a little bit, but there's so many things that we can change on these cars that makes a huge difference. And like you said, the way you drive them and everything, you kind of drive the track the same, I guess. But I love that place, always have and always will.
Well, Butch, when you go out there on the track, who are some of the guys that you look at and then say that, these are the guys I got to beat to win the race tonight?
There's quite a few up here. Max Blair is definitely one of them. He's a top-notch guy. Mike Pegger, all the guys that they all get on south and do good. Anytime that, like I said, there's quite a few guys up here. Any night that we're running a tour race up here, there's probably, I don't know, a dozen guys that you're competing against to run up front, and it's very competitive up here, without a doubt.
Well, Miss Vicki, go ahead.
The Rush Series being new this year, I know that you've raced around there a lot. What are your expectations of this new series coming in with Vicki Emig and Mike Leone at the helm of the Rush Series?
My opinion, you couldn't ask for two better people to start this deal. I know Vicki and Mike put a lot of time into years past and getting the crate deal going, and they've gone leaps and bounds to have big money races and the full tour schedule for that matter. It's just been great, and I think it's only going to get bigger and better.
Now, one of the things that Miss Vicki and Mike passed on to me about you and your wife, Miss Robin, is that you guys are probably two of the best, or the best team up there that does their own marketing and social media. She didn't elaborate, so what are you guys doing as far as marketing of Team Lambert?
Well, first, I can't take too much of that credit because my wife does 99% of that stuff. She goes out and gets our sponsors for us, and she makes that part of it pretty easy for us. And she's on Facebook and Twitter, and I got a motor for sale, and she put it on there, and there's guys calling me about looking on Facebook, and there's anything. I'm really not on there all that much, but she does a lot of that stuff and has contests and whatnot, just anything she can do to get our sponsors' names out.
Well, we'll tell her that if she wants to do a contest through our show here, that'd be okay. If you have a T-shirt or something, maybe we can give away one. You guys got T-shirts?
We haven't had T-shirts. We had a little bit of a fire with our toter home a year ago, and all of our stuff got burned up in that, and we kind of haven't got anything made since then. But probably this year we'll get something made up and probably do something.
Well, we certainly, nobody likes to hear fire when toter home, especially Mike Vaughn, right? Right, Roby?
Yeah, that can be devastating. I'll tell you, not just from a financial standpoint, but like what Butch was saying, you got everything in there, and it goes up in smoke, and then you don't have it anymore, and you just got to start from scratch, and it's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, it definitely is. We lost a lot in there. My suit and everything was in there, and, just fighting with the insurance company for it. That was a big deal, and it set us back a little bit. But the way my guys are and my wife to keep pushing on, we didn't miss any races. We I was driving an EMOD for a guy for a few years. He's still involved with us. We used his truck, and we went racing the next week. And actually, it was kind of a funny story that goes along with that. Going to the track the next week, we blew 2 rear tires on the truck, and I was ready to turn around and come home, but nobody would let me.
That's one thing that's great about our sport is in times of tragedy and adversity, it seems like everybody in this sport pulls together, and people that you didn't even probably realize knew who you were or what you were doing probably came by and tried to help you out.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's one big family, and anybody, something like that happens, everybody steps up, and, everybody helped me out. Getting a new suit to a little bit of money, it went a long ways, and, you just hope that stuff like that doesn't happen to you, but if it happens to somebody else, always have open arms to do anything you can to help them out.
Now, regionally, I've always been amazed at regionally in this country when it comes to motorsports. Certain things are bigger here, and certain things are bigger there. And for instance, open wheel is bigger in the the kind of the flyover state, so to speak, than it is say down south here. But there, where you're at, it's usually the winged outlaw cars and then the big blocks. Do you recall when late models started becoming sort of popular? I mean, at some point they might be fresh on the scene, except for maybe a touring show like a World of Outlaws or a Lucas show every once in a while. But do you remember when late models were new at the local tracks?
No, that's been too long ago for me. I mean, I've always been, pretty impressed with the late models and really followed them. Never was a real big sprint car guy or anything. I always thought it would be pretty cool to drive a big block, but never had the chance to do that. But, the late models, I think, they're as far back as I can remember. And I always wanted to drive one, and now I have the opportunity with this crate deal. Financially, I'd never be able to do it with an open motor, entirely too much money, but this is a great deal that they got going with these cars.
When you guys get to the track, I'm sure you feel like you got just as good a chance as the next guy, right?
Yeah, and some nights. I mean, you definitely, if you miss the setup on these things, you're struggling all night, and we're known for our bad pill draws and everything. We always start in the back, so, our work's cut out for us all the time, but, we take the good with the bad, and, it's not often that we pull a good pill, so, I don't like it all the time, but, it is what it is, and we make the best of it.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it's 2013, and 13 is usually a bad luck number for people, but 2013 is the year the bad pill draw gets off your bag, the bad pill monkey. So I've taken the bad pill monkey off Team Lambert. You guys are going to draw better, and if you don't, it's just because I'm not good at voodoo. Sorry.
Well, that's what I always said. Somebody has a voodoo doll with us on it. I mean, we've tried everything. I could go up and stand on my head and pull the number, and everybody would be looking at us to see it's kind of like a joke anymore, But like I said, we take the good with the bad and keep on rolling.
Well, Butch, I certainly appreciate you taking time. I know you were on your way home from work, but I appreciate taking your time out of your evening to call us here on the NeSmith Race Report. Looking forward to promoting you and the rest of the guys in the Rush Racing Series. Before we let you get out of here, though, we want you to thank some of the sponsors on that race car, and also some of the gentlemen that help, and ladies, if any, turn the wrenches and bolts there, keep that car together.
First, I got to thank my wife. She does a lot. Robin, I probably wouldn't be doing it if she hadn't kept us going all these years. Dave, Uncle Bill, Tom, my mom and dad, we still work on the car at my dad's garage, and he's been a pretty big help in the last couple of years. I know I'm probably forgetting Charlie and Joe. Joe drives our truck for us whenever I can't get there, and I got a good group of guys that help us out, and sponsors, Bagel Bites, Kosminski Auto Body, Fence by Maintenance, Ingram Engines, Fleming Auto Service, Smart Equipment, Mars Beer Distributor, LabFab, Race Bodies, Zero Wraps, Lambert Plumbing, and I know I'm forgetting a few of them, but, sponsors is a big deal, and we couldn't do it without all of them.
All right, well, make sure you guys stay in touch. Me and Miss Robin are friends on Facebook, so I'll keep her up to date on what's going on, and then maybe we'll get you back on and celebrate a big win sometime this season.
Well, I'd like that. I'd also like to say hi to my daughter. I know she's probably listening. She just had her tonsils out last week, so she's been a big deal. You know, she goes to the races all the time with us, and she wouldn't miss any of them. So just like to say hi to her.
I bet she's been just hammering the ice cream this week, hasn't she?
Not too much. Not as much as we expected she would, but she's been hitting the popsicles pretty hard.
I hear you. Well, family's as big a part of this sport as anything, so speedy recovery to, what was her first name?
Madison.
Miss Madison, I hope you feel better, coming all the way from Alabama. So we're sending you some goodwill, and we'll check in with you guys a little bit later in the season, Butch.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, thanks, Butch.
Butch Lambert, a late model, crate late model pilot there in Pennsylvania, racing with the Rush Racing Series. We're just going to keep on trucking.
Well, Webb, real quick, you were talking about the history of late model racing up there in Pennsylvania. Real quick, back in 1983, kind of went on an outlaw sprint car tour. We started in Pennsylvania, and we went all the way over to Kansas City, Missouri, and then back up to Knoxville, Iowa. And our first stop was Sealands Grove Speedway in Sealands Grove, Pennsylvania. And they had a show with the Outlaw Sprints, the URC Sprints, and they had late models as kind of a quote-unquote filler in between the two divisions. Well, they had some weather coming in, and I guess the promoter decided that, well, we're going to cut the late models out so we can get this sprint car show in. And the fans in the stands went crazy. They started chanting, "We want the late models, we want the late models," and the sprint car people just couldn't believe that, right in the heart of outlaw sprint car country there at Sealands Grove Speedway. So that just kind of shows you the popularity of late model racing goes back, 30 years in the state of Pennsylvania.
Well, and I always think too. I mean, when I guess New Jersey, New York, up that way. I always just think of seems like it's just winged outlaws and the big blocks. I mean, does New York got does it have a 30-year history with the late models?
I don't know if it does with the late models, but it certainly does with the big block modifieds and, of course, the sprint cars. And the midgets were pretty popular up there, back in the 50s and 60s. Well,
I meant to tell, and we have Roger Flynn on hold. We'll get to him in just a second. But I meant to tell Jeff Androlonis last week, and he was talking about some of the old racetracks in Pennsylvania. I mean, you've seen the pictures I had from the old Langhorne asphalt track.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot to tell him that, and for whatever reason, you reminded me right now.
And he was more famous as a dirt track before that.
That's right. Well, see, that's what my dad tries to catch these shows here and there when he can. He's not a regular listener, but he said something about it. He heard that guy, and he said, that used to be a dirt track or something to that effect. And I said, listen, I got so many people around me that know more about that part of the country than I do. I said, I let them do it. I don't try to even confuse myself with knowing. But all right, well, let's bring Roger Flynn on. He was victorious over the weekend in the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stocks division. Roger Flynn, welcome to the program, brother.
All right, thank you.
Now you guys picked up a win in this brand new NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stocks division. First of all, how excited are you to have a series such as this to run with?
I am very excited. We've been waiting a long time for a series or a class to come along and sanction street stock to get these, get the rules and everything in line at several different tracks to give us opportunity to race at different areas under the same rules. So I'm very excited about it.
Roby, this is a common theme amongst our street stock competitors is that they even have the itch to travel. Now this lets them do that. That's
right, and it seems like through the years when, you get into the street stocks, mini stocks, pure stocks, divisions, it seems like that every racetrack that you go to, they have a different set of rules. So, that creates a lot of work for the competitors to try to get their cars to where they can race at a certain track, and a lot of times they can't get their car to conform to the rules. So they're either stuck at one racetrack or they got to do a lot of extra work. So, Roger, this has got to make it a lot easier for the street stock guys where, you don't have to do a lot of extra work to get ready to go racing.
That's right. I've run into situations where valve sizes caught me legal at my track, not legal at another. and tire issues, big wheels versus small wheels, all kind of issues, and just so pleased to see something come along and sanction this and get these rules in line. That's exactly what we needed. We got a couple other tracks I hope will fall in line with this, and I think they will if they see it, and I think it's going to take off very popular.
Well, Roger, where are you from, and are you just going to race local, or what's your plans for this year?
Well, I grew up in Mississippi, around Poplarville area, but I live in Baton Rouge, Louisiana now, and I'm going to race St. to be my primary track this year, and I'm going to run this, what they call the Mississippi Super Street Showdown Series. I'm going to try to run. Race dictates the next, I guess, but the goal is to run, if we're competitive, we'll try to run all 10 races of that, and that's pretty much going to be it. But I hope some other tracks, like I say, fall in line and become NeSmith tracks around here also.
Now, when you say the Mississippi Street Stock Showdown Series, that they're also going to be co-sanctioning the I-20 Challenge this weekend on Friday night at Jackson Motor Speedway and Saturday night at Wyandotte Motorsports Park. So is that where you're going to be this weekend?
Probably not going to make the Friday night show. Definitely going to make the Saturday night show. Friday's a little tough. Had a few little issues I'm still working on with the car and with family and everything. It's just Friday's difficult. I'd love to make it. It's possible, but I'm thinking more or less Saturday definitely.
Well, Roger, I tell you, you know you're a part of history now. You're always going to be a trivia question because you have the honor of winning the first ever NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division race there at St. Tammany Raceway on Saturday night. So I'm sure that the name Roger Flynn will be heard in trivia questions in the years to come.
That's a good honor. I tell you, I've been fooling with these street stocks a long time, and I love them. It's a very popular sport. It's economical. It's just a fun class, fun car to drive, and great friends in this class, and it would hand the shirt off the back for you. So it's really just an honor to be in this class.
Well, walk us through the evening there at St. Tammany's over the weekend. You guys unload, and what did you guys have during hot laps? Did you realize you had the car to beat?
My dad, he's 75 years old this year, but he's been with me for a long time, and he comes back and he encourages me. He tells me, hey, I think you're the fastest one out there, or whatever. And then a good, honest opinion, and then as the night progresses, we run third in the heat, kind of struggled a little bit, but when the track dries up, the cars change a lot, so we was able to pick them off in the features. So very pleased with the car, good competition over there. Those guys I race with, a lot of the guys I race with are very good friends and good competitors, good drivers, and I'm looking forward to a good season with these guys.
Well, go ahead.
What was it like at St. Tammany Raceway? The track had been closed down for a couple of years, and they struggled with the weather early, trying to get the track ready, but they finally got it open. What was the atmosphere there Saturday night amongst the competitors and the people in the grandstand?
The grandstands were packed. I think people had a great time. From what I've seen, it was just a good atmosphere, a family atmosphere. And the track was it's in pretty good condition. Got a little bumpy toward the end, as expected with all dirt tracks, But I think the track held up very well. Started picking off at the end, and you can ask for that. But it was a good night, good turnout. I'm very excited for these people to have this track now. And thankful that they come along when they did, and especially welcome NeSmith in this series into their track.
Well, with the track not being raced on for a couple of years, if you got a few bumps and a few ripples in the racetrack, that's kind of to be expected. But I know that Mickey and the crew down there at St. Tammany Raceway will have that thing smoothed out in no time once they get a few races on it.
Right. Well, St. Tammany's my old stomping ground. I grew up on that track, started in the early 90s down there, and it's home to me. I run other tracks last year, and And I love them other places are great to race at too. I really like getting off this weekend. We're going to go to the Why Not for sure up at Meridian, and it's very exciting to go to other tracks, but there's nothing like home, So I'm looking forward to racing St. Tammany this year.
Well, it certainly seems like there's some good competition in the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division, as well as the Mississippi Street Stock Showdown Series that'll be co-sanctioning with us at Jackson Why Not this weekend. And we're really looking forward to promoting you and your fellow competitors and try to bring street stock racing up and give it some exposure that you guys really deserve, because you guys put on a great show.
That's right. I think it's very popular with the fans. I can feel it. I've been around it a long time, and like I say, the fans, two classes I really love is late model and street stock, and it's a pleasure to be in either one of them for me, So, but the streets are where I'm at, and that's what I like.
Well, Butch, thanks for taking time out of your Tuesday evening to call us here on the NeSmith Race Report. Looking to, like Roby said, promote you guys all year and looking for an exciting finish to the points in your division, just like in all the great Racing USA divisions we have. Before we let you get out of here, though, I need for you to thank some of the sponsors on that race car and anybody other than Dad that helps turn the wrenches.
Okay, I have a proclamation audio from Butch, Louisiana, is one of my sponsors. I only have a couple. And then Nabber's Electric out of Bogalusa, Louisiana, is the other sponsor. Other than that, my dad and I turn the wrenches, and brother Ronnie, my mother, she's a backbone to this whole operation, his family and friends, and wife Susan, very grateful for everything she does, So, and also son Jared comes along once in a while. He's into music, but racing is a passion for him. I hope I can get him going with it here very soon. But that's all I have.
Roger Flynn. Roger Flynn in the 41F car, victorious over the weekend at St. Tammany Raceway in Lacombe, Louisiana. Good luck with the rest of the season, and maybe we'll get to talk to you again, Roger.
I hope so. Thank you.
All right, Roger Flynn. Roby, did I call him Butch?
Yeah.
I think I did, too. I didn't mean to.
He's a race car driver. I'm sure he's been called worse.
Well, what it is I have my notes right here, and I was doing something else because I was worried about. I told our last guest to call at about 10 after the hour. So I was trying to text and see if I could get him to call earlier. It looks like he has called early anyway, so that's good. And I looked down and the first name that I saw was Butch, and then I realized what I did. So I apologize to Roger Flynn. Not that calling him Butch is bad, because Butch is a heck of a guy. We just talked to him. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Just don't call him late for supper.
That's right. Well, let's go ahead and just keep on moving. It appears that we got our final guest on. This is the Crate Racing USA Sponsor Spotlight. We have Chris Vandergriff on the telephone from Hedman Hustler Headers. Welcome to the program, Chris.
Hey, guys. How you doing this evening?
Man, I was trying to text everybody I knew who might know you to say, hey, tell them to call early. Cause
well, I was already pre-warned to call on time, and that's the way we like to do things around here.
Excellent. Chris, you guys have been a sponsor for a few years now with the NeSmith series. Just talk about the relationship.
Well, I have to be honest with you. My family has been known for drag racing and street rod development with our exhaust products for over 50 years now. And about 5 years ago, we decided to get into the oval track world, starting with the asphalt cars and the dirt cars. And we're very selective of the series and the people that we do business with, but I am proud to say that dealing with Mike and Roby and Tim has been a blessing for us, because I probably get solicited over 100 times a week to get involved with different series around the country. But we're very proud of our relationship with the NeSmith series. We've done a lot of development work with our headers. We're very proud of the quality. But at the same time, we're very proud of our durability and the horsepower and torque numbers. So we've been hard at work here at Hedman Hustler trying to make a new choice in headers for the dirt late model marketplace, and we haven't forgot about the crate guys. And I was listening to the interview once before about the street stocks, and we're very proud that we have a new header coming out for all the street stocks, and we're just hard at work here at Hedman Hustler, and we're very proud of our relationship with the NeSmith series.
Well, Chris, you mentioned that you have a long background in drag racing, and it goes back to day one. And you've really built a name for yourself with Hedman Hustler headers and drag race. I know as a kid building the model cars, the model drag cars, and you get that decal kit, you always had to make sure you had that Hedman Hustler decal on the model car. And you're carrying that on, and with a background in drag racing, what turned your head towards dirt late model racing?
Well, I have to be honest, we've been kind of looking at racing with our blinders on for many, many years because our business has always been good with the drag racing and the street rod marketplace. But as times change and the marketplace changes, and with the recession and the economy the way it's been, I was sitting around one day just thinking about, hey, we're happy with where we're at, but what are the things that we could be doing to grow and diversify our marketplace and our appearance in it? And looking at some of the Cup drivers from just recent research, you look at Casey Kane and Tony, when they're not in their Cup cars, they're out messing around with the sprint cars. And if you look at Clint Boyer and some of the boys, when they're not in their Cup cars, they're out messing around with the dirt late models. So we just kind of decided to be open-minded and look at what the telephones were asking for and what racers were doing. And it didn't take very long for us to figure out that dirt late model racing as a whole was very, very popular. And it's a lot of family-based teams with sons driving and grandsons driving, and we just felt it was a normal attachment because we are a family-owned business. We're probably one of the last family-owned businesses that are in the exhaust aftermarket to this day. So we thought we'd just kind of take a look and see what was going on in the marketplace, and after a little research and development and a couple of dyno tests and having a few known racers around the country run my stuff and try to break it because we're very proud of our durability and how long our headers do last, we had nothing but good results from the dyno testing and the on-track testing, so we just thought it was the perfect place to kind of make a new home for ourselves. So our business model really hasn't changed. For 60 years now this year, we've been very proud of what we do and how we do it, and we've just kind of taken the same quality and horsepower that we've always been known for, and now we just make a lot of new headers for a lot of different kind of race cars.
Webb, you got to love a manufacturer that comes to you with his product and asks you to bolt it on his car and says, please go out and try to break this.
Yep. I would have to agree with you more because I'm very much an engineer and a development kind of guy. And one thing I can tell you is the harmonics and the rigidity of dirt racing on a header per se is much more violent than we would ever find on the asphalt. So doing our research, we found out, no offense to the other header manufacturers that are out there, because we're one of them as well, but there was a lot of failures, and guys would have to go through a set or two or three sets of headers a year just to kind of get through the season. So we kind of went back to the drawing board and looked at where they were failing and how they were failing and tried to figure out a way that we could make a better quality product that would last longer. And I'll have to thank my whole staff. I can't take credit for it, but I've got about 60 employees here that took on the challenge that I gave them to make a better quality header and not forget the horsepower and the torque, and I think we really achieved it. So guys can buy our header, and if they don't get in the classic wrecks that happen every once in a while, they might be running our headers for a year or two or three or four. I have some guys that have been running them for 5, so we're very proud of the quality. We're very proud of the horsepower and torque and the durability.
And your lead guy in the NeSmith Chevrolet Dirt Late Model Series was also the national champion last year, driving the Headman Hustler Special, Matthew Turner out of Dawsonville, Georgia. So a little bit of icing on the cake there.
Well, I have to be honest with you. We cannot take the credit. Matthew and good old Turkey himself have really done a lot of homework for us, and they were one of the first dirt racers that befriended my family in our exhaust business to say, hey, we hear you're getting into this, and we'd like to run your product, and we'd love to work with you. So as I've had many racers go out there and try to break it, Matthew was one of the first guys that took on my challenge to tell me if I make a good enough header, to tell me what's wrong with it and how to make a better header. So we are very fortunate to hook up with Matthew and his family, and we couldn't be prouder of his efforts and his accomplishments, and we look forward to many more years with Matthew and his family.
Now Matthew is a hell of a wheel man.
Yes, he is.
And he's a good representative of the product.
Yeah.
But even you, Chris, and I was a bit shocked, too, and I'm the camera guy, I'm the media guy, whatever, but you have to be a bit shocked at his presence in front of the camera. He did really well at the IMA show, being a spokesperson for not only you, but several other people that help out the NeSmith series. Were you shocked that he was such a great orator, so to speak?
Well, not really. I think Matthew's always always had it in him as a person, and where he comes from with the upbringing that he has. Being a former professional race car driver myself in my Top Fuel career, it's easy to be a racer and shake hands with your fellow man, but when you get that camera stuck in front of you, not many people know how to handle that. So I think it was just a good adaptation for Matthew to really just be himself and speak from the heart. And when you do that, whether there's a TV camera in front of you or not, you just kind of say what you mean and mean what you say. And we're very proud of Matthew and the way he handles himself.
It was one take. Every place we stopped and did an interview with, whether it would be you guys or with another company, it was one take with him. He never had to say, wait a second, I messed up. And I was just, like, after about the third one, I was like, who is this Matt Turner guy?
There's a natural in every one of us. We just have to sometimes get over our fears and speak.
That's right. Well, he did a wonderful job. I was impressed with him.
But he truly exemplifies what a Hedman hustler is. You know, we've been in business for 60 years now. We worked out with every form of motorsports and every hero to the blue-collar guy. And we really believe being a Hedman hustler is more about the blue-collar Saturday night racer. That's where we come from. That's our heritage. So I think the NeSmith Series has nothing but that. And meeting the people that I have at the races and getting to know the background of the series, I think it's just a big family effort, and we're very proud of our involvement, and we look forward to doing much more.
Well, give us the products that work with the 602, 604, and then also are they the same headers that go on the street stocks and the late models? I'm obviously not a crew chief, so I don't know, but tell us the model numbers that you guys have and use for both classes.
Well, there's a little difference in how the cars are built and what design of a header that we would use, but just starting with the basics with the 604 crates and the 602s per se, all the rule packages claim that, obviously they cannot have a tri-Y header, so we offer a nice conventional header that is very good fitting. We worry about tire clearance, making sure the drivers can get lock to lock without running into the tire or running into the header with the tires themselves. So we've got a brand new header that we've developed for the 604 crate class. We just got off the engine dyno recently, and we're very proud of the horsepower and torque numbers. We've obviously made the headers for the Dirt Late Model Series as we knew them before, but with your new engine that's coming out in the series with the CT 525, we've done some recent development work, and I actually have a few secret racers out there doing my challenge, trying to break them. And we're getting ready to go on the dyno to make sure our new LS version of the Dirt Late Model header speaks for itself. And we're really proud that we can pretty much cover everything. We don't really have blinders on, like I said. I listen to my telephone, and it only takes a minute for a couple of your street stock guys to give me a call and tell me they're not happy with what they've been running or how long they last. And we're open-minded enough to take a look. So we really want to cover everything within the NeSmith series and offer headers for all types of cars. Obviously, the crates in the CT 525 we're working on now, but we're not open-minded enough to not listen and take a look at developing those as well.
So we'll have those that will be ready. When do you think those might be available, the LS ones?
They are as we speak.
As we speak, okay, just making sure.
As we speak, yes, sir.
And what about the street stock header? Is it available yet?
Well, I have to be honest, being somewhat of a drag racer, learning the different rules packages, we are working with a different series right now that we're very thankful to be with, which is the Southern Outlaw Street Stock Series here in the southeast in Georgia. We've created a brand new hobby stock class header, basically, that fits the Camaro front snout, that we are doing in-chassis header first, and a lot of the guys are still faithful and partial to the over-the-rail header. And I am developing the over-the-rail header as we speak. So depending on the rule package and the engine setback, I would love to say, yes, my stuff fits everything, but we're going to start here with the Southern Outlaw Street Stocks and kind of work our way around. So maybe we can compare some notes to find out our stuff does fit within the cars in your series, and we can just kind of adapt to that as soon as we can.
My buddy Tony Brown mentioned when I put the post out that you were going to join us tonight, he mentioned that you guys were helping them out too. So
yeah.
There's a shout-out for Mr. Tony Brown. Well, all right, well, we know we can find you. Hedman Nation is on Facebook, but where can the competitors go on the World Wide Web to order parts from you guys?
Well, we have a little difference how we run the company. If you go to Hedman.com, you will find all our street products and our emission legal products. If you go to HedmanHustler.com, you will find our website that is basically directed at all of our racing products. We have a new online flip catalog that you can read on the internet, just like the old school days where you flip through a catalog that's very easy and clerical and easy to read. And other than that, being a general manager and director of racing, I'm still one of the guys here that gets dirty in the back. So anybody who wants to talk to me personally can just call us at 770-664-8880. Ask for Chris Vandergriff. My secretary will put you right through, and I will take anybody's call.
Well, we certainly appreciate taking time out of your evening to talk to us here on the NeSmith Race Report. We appreciate you guys' help sponsorship-wise with the series and look forward to keeping that relationship growing, brother.
Well, please tell all the racers have a good, happy evening, and tell the management at NeSmith we're very happy to be with them. And I look forward to clearing up my schedule here real soon so I can get on an airplane or just get in the car and come show up at one of those races and watch some good racing.
Yeah, come on.
We look forward to seeing you, Chris.
All right, Roby. You guys have a good night.
Chris Vandergriff with Hedman Hustler Headers. Hedman
they also
Nation.
sponsor the Hedman Hustler Award at each NeSmith Chevrolet Dirt Late Model Series national event. They put up $100 to the driver that improves his position the most from the start of the race to the end of the race, and we also keep those passing points throughout the year, and the driver with the most points at the end of the year picks up a $1,000 bonus from Hedman Hustler Headers as the Hedman Hustler of the Year.
That was the Crate Racing USA Sponsor Spotlight, and what we're going to do is we're going to spotlight all of our sponsors, obviously. In that segment, it'll be at the end of the program every week. And Chris, the two Chris's, Medley and Vandergriff, have set the bar. They both were really good interviews.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Chris, he's been a professional racer most of his life in a top fuel dragster, so he's used to getting a microphone stuck in his face.
Well,
he's a good guy because he talks racing. I mean, he's not a suit in the corporate office. Like he said, he's back there in the shop getting his hands dirty, and he's a great guy for the sport of racing.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've reached the end of our April 2nd version. Did you have any April Fool's jokes played on you yesterday, Roby?
No, not really, but I mean, you were talking about your daughter and throwing that trick on you on April Fool's. I mean, I used to do that at least 2-3 times a week.
Well, she's 6, right? So, and
anything to keep from going to school,
Yeah, I'm the safety guy at home. So, I mean, I'm the one that got rid of the coffee table when she was born, not my wife. So, when your little girl is crying, saying her arms hurt, you believe her. And she just cackled out loud because she got Daddy. And the first thing she did when I picked her from school yesterday, she got in and she said, "I've been smiling all day, Daddy, because I got you." So she was just very proud of herself for pulling one over on me. So I'd like to thank all of our guests that joined us this evening. I'd like to thank Michael Arnold, the winner at Hattiesburg over the weekend, Mickey Trosclair, winner at St. Tammany's, Butch Lambert, late model pilot out of Pennsylvania, Rush Racing Series Country. I'd like to thank Roger Flynn. Apologize for calling you Butch. I'm the producer of the show, so I multitask sometimes, and I apologize, Roger, for that. Also like to thank Chris Vandergriff, not only for the interview, but for him and what his company does for the NeSmith Series. And any closing thoughts, Roby? Roby, go over what's on tap again real quick this weekend, weather permitting.
All right, with the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series late models, they'll be in action on Friday night at Batesville Motor Speedway in Batesville, Arkansas, Hattiesburg Motorsports Park in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and at Jackson Motor Speedway in Jackson, Mississippi on Saturday night. They'll be in action at Bubba Raceway Park in Ocala, Florida, Clay Hill Motorsports in Atwood, Tennessee, East Alabama Motor Speedway in Phoenix City, Alabama, Magnolia Motor Speedway in Columbus, Mississippi, St. Tammany Raceway in Lacombe, Louisiana, Southern Raceway in Milton, Florida, Talladega Short Track in East Aboga, Alabama, and Why Not Motorsports Park in Meridian, Mississippi. NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division going to be in action on Friday night at Jackson Motor Speedway, and then on Saturday night at Why Not Motorsports Park. That's the I-20 Challenge, sponsored by Saul's Farms. Street stock action also at Magnolia Motor Speedway in Columbus, Mississippi, St. Tammany Raceway in Lacombe, Louisiana. So, and at Moulton Speedway in Moulton, Alabama for the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division. So get out and support your local racetrack. If you want to get a copy of that schedule, it'll be available on our website at www.nesmithracing.com. On the Weekly Racing Series website, that's where you'll find the Week 2 schedule for the NeSmith Chevrolet Old Man's Garage Weekly Racing Series and the NeSmith Performance Parts Street Stock Division.
I'd like to thank NeSmith out of Claxton, Georgia, NeSmith Chevrolet GMC, Chevrolet Performance, Hoosier Racing Tire, Modern Images, Race Car Engineering, RockAuto.com, Bilstein Shocks, and Hedman Hustler Headers. We're all proud to have those guys as sponsors of the NeSmith Series. You've been listening to the NeSmith Race Report, brought to you by Old Man's Garage Late Model Chassis Parts. And with that, Roby, we're out of here, bud.